Hello and welcome to the show. Today my guest is Rachel Bailey. Hi Rachel.
Hello.
Hi. Rachel is the Liaison Senior Sales Manager at NBCUniversal, and prior to this she was the head of programming at BBC Studios in London for several years, overseeing the BBC channels broadcasting across Western Europe and Africa. And she transferred to Australia with BBC Studios 4 years ago, where she moved into business development before joining NBCUniversal last year. And Rachel is known as a quick learner, a go-getter, and very passionate about the entertainment industry. But what you might not know about her is that Rachel volunteers for animal rescues as a rabbit fosterer and has two cute house rabbits of her very own. Rachel, to get to know you even better, I've got some quick top-of-mind questions for you. What is something you can't live without?
I really can't live without at least 3 good novels that I haven't yet read.
And what are 3 words that describe you best?
Curious, thoughtful, and responsible.
And what inspires you?
I love discovering new things. So one of my favourite things is going on an everyday adventure.
And what's the best advice you ever got?
Well, it wasn't given to me specifically, but I love Oprah Winfrey's "Watch Your Own horse. Do not get distracted by everything going on around you. Run your own race."
And what's your hidden talent?
Well, I have quite a good memory, and I can actually recite all of the US states in alphabetical order.
Okay, let's start and talk about how you shift your leadership. And I'm particularly interested to start off with, what's your take on adaptability and where do you see the best opportunities to adapt?
As human beings, we are consciously or unconsciously adapting all the time, whether that's a way from, adapting how you're talking to different people in the workplace, or big shifts like moving country or moving jobs, moving into a new industry. Over the past 4 years, I've done a lot of adapting. So I moved with the BBC to Australia from London, big change. So I'd been very settled prior to that, same company, working with the same people, very similar job, working my way up, to moving to a different country, working with different people, and then moving into different roles, and now at a new company where I've been for nearly a year now. So over the past few years, I've done a lot of learning about myself and how I adapt to different situations, and really understanding that how you think you're going to adapt doesn't always necessarily play out that way. So, and on top of that, now we're going through this extraordinary time of working from home. So I was actually only in the office with NBCUniversal for 4 months, not even 4 months, and then working from home. So having that time to build those relationships, it didn't give me a lot of time to build face-to-face relationships. So really adapting to that different dynamic in the workplace, as well as adapting to all the lifestyle changes this time brought to everyone.
Yeah, that is a lot of adapting, both voluntarily and involuntarily, right? But I think we're all in this together. Hey, and in times of pressure, which you also go through, how do you ensure strategic thinking is still ensured?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think something that's really, it's relevant all the time, but especially now when you're not working together in your same group dynamics. I think it's even more important to make sure you are carving out the time to take a step back from today and the pressure and all of that. So I think for me, it's really important to perhaps go somewhere different. So take yourself away from your normal work environment. And that's why I guess away days were because it's a chance to take your team somewhere different, away from all the distractions of the workplace or now your desk in your home, and think about these things somewhere else. And I think that just helps you just take a breath and take a step back and look at the bigger picture. I think it's really important to structure your time. So whether that's your day or your week ahead or even your month ahead, and say, right, this is when we're going to do this, or this is when I'm going to do this. Something else that I found useful is to maybe schedule time with someone else to spitball ideas.
Yeah.
Because if you're just doing it on your own, even with people in the world,
yeah.
you schedule the time in, you don't do it because something comes along. If you've got a commitment to someone else, you're much more likely to get it done.
Yeah. Talking about inspiration and fresh perspective, what do you do to keep up with industry learnings or learnings about leadership?
Well, I work in television, so I'm obviously very lucky that I can often keep up with some developments in industry just by, in the evening, turning on my television or looking what's on Foxtel or Stan, so that's great. That's like a real sort of good way for me to learn about things. I subscribe to industry publications and I make sure that I get the updates directly into my inbox at work. So, I don't miss things. It's a nice distraction sometimes to think, oh, right, I've seen that headline come in. I'm going to have a look at that now, take a break from. Yeah. I tend to listen to podcasts now more than I do to music. Yeah. And in particular, I like listening to interviews. So Desert Island Discs, Adam Buxton podcasts, and they tend to be interviews with people who have achieved something in whatever field they're in, and they talk about the challenges they faced, how they did it, did they enjoy it, what happened along the way, and I find that really interesting. And they will be leaders in their own field. Yeah.
No, I can echo that, and also I can imagine that that goes both for learning about leadership and industry developments, but also when we have complex dilemmas and when we're stuck. How do you do that to get clarity in complex dilemma?
So many complex dilemmas all the time, right? Especially in the world we're in now, where things are changing so quickly. And life seems to be more complicated now than it ever was. I think two big things that I think are really important. One is to take time out from the issue. If you feel like you're bogged down and you're not getting anywhere with it, the worst thing to do, and I've learned this from experience, is just battle on and keep fighting it. Sometimes you need to do something different, whether it's taking a walk outside, going to pet your dog or something. Just do something different. Take yourself away from it. Give yourself a bit of time. Try and decompress the situation.
Yeah, and having reflected on these questions, how you do things and what works for you, what have you told yourself what you're gonna do going forward? Will you be doing something differently or be different?
I've learned so much about myself and how I adapt to different situations, and I've tried different things as well. So I think that experimentation is really good. Yeah. Don't always get to the same reaction or solution. Sort of really think about what the different outcomes could be.
Yeah.
So kind of planning that ahead. I think definitely I've learned that showing your vulnerability is really helpful. You don't always know the answers to everything, and that's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
And it can be really helpful in unlocking relationships and, drawing people in and increasing trust between people. Just, say, I don't actually know what that is. It's okay. And it can sometimes be hard, especially when you're coming from a place like I was, coming from the UK to Australia. I was a bit of a fish out of water, but I was quite proud. I didn't want to admit that at first. So learning about myself is, it's okay. I think that experimentation, really knowing yourself, opening up, and being open to change.
Yes.
That's really rewarding.
Yes, and you practice what you preach, in the sense you're really, as much as can be, true to yourself and shown the vulnerability, and that's why I loved our conversation today. So thanks so much for sharing all your valuable insights. Thanks so much, Rachel, for being on the show. And thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope to meet again in the future. Keep shifting. See you soon. Bye.